Hey, History Teakin here. Today we visit Spofforth Castle in North Yorkshire, the principal seat of the Percy family from the 11th century, and in 1924, Charles Henry, 3rd Baron Leconfield, gifted ownership of the castle to the state. We shall learn about the history, including details about the Magna Carta. The part of the castle we see before us is the ruins of the first floor, and the ground floor is hidden from this viewpoint. In the Middle Ages, Spofforth Manor was surrounded by a large estate, extensive parkland and an adjacent lake. Spofforth was always a comfortable manor house rather than a castle. The buildings in front of us include the manor's principal chambers. These were part of a courtyard range, which encircled a natural hillock. Turrets stood around the walls, and a gatehouse faced towards the village and the parish church. Behind us, to the west, lay a large park with woodland for hunting and a lake called the Stannock. In 1461, the 3rd Earl of Northumberland was defeated and killed at the Battle of Taunton. His house at Spofforth was badly damaged in retribution. A source recorded the manor house was sore defaced in the time of civil war between Henry VI and Edward IV, the Earl of Warwick and the Marquess of Monteith. By 1577, although some repairs had been made to the principal buildings, a survey recorded that the manor house is almost utterly ruinated. Spofforth Castle is situated on a small rocky outcrop overlooking the village. The medieval manor house was arranged around a courtyard, but only the west range, which contained the principal apartments, still stand. Only earthworks and some low walls remain of the north, south and east ranges. William the Conqueror granted 86 lordships in Yorkshire, including Spofforth, to William de Percy, a Norman baron. Percy built a manor house here, and Spofforth became the headquarters of this powerful family for over 200 years. The surviving buildings date from the early 13th century, with major rebuilding in the 15th century. The castle had fallen into ruin by the beginning of the 17th century. Spofforth Castle was the principal residence of the powerful Percy family until the late 14th century. William de Percy, a favourite of William the Conqueror, built a manor house at Spofforth in the 11th century. It is said that the rebel barons drew up the Magna Carta in 1215, and in 1224 Henry III granted a licence to a late William de Percy to hold a Friday market in the town. In 1308, Henry de Percy received a licence to fortify the manor house. During the War of the Roses, the Percys supported the House of Lancaster. Following the Battle of Taunton in 1461, the victorious Yorkist side, led by the Earl of Warwick, marched on Spofforth, burning the castle and plundering the countryside. The castle lay in ruins for nearly 100 years, until 1559, when it was restored by Henry Lord Percy. By this time, however, the seat of the Percys had shifted to Alnwick in Northumberland. This would have been the oldest part of the castle, from the 12th century. The provisions would have been prepared here. In front of us are the stairs which have been blocked off now. These would have been used by the staff to take food to the great table in the great hall, for the Lord and his family, and guests of course. Spofforth's principal buildings were built between the 13th and 15th centuries, making use of the unusual topography of the site. This hall was first built in the early 13th century. The ground floor was set against the rocky outcrop, and stairs were cut through the rock at each end. At the end of the 13th century, the building was extended to the north, with a suite of comfortable chambers. A stair turret and parapet walk were added at this time. During the 15th century, the hall was widened so that the first floor extended over the top of the rough rock. The stylish new hall was well lit, with large windows on both sides. A new fireplace was set in the north wall. The hall, with its finer views over the parkland to the west, would have been a grand space for entertaining. An arched doorway in the northeast corner of the hall undercroft takes us through a small subsidiary chamber into a large lobby or chamber. In this corner we find a doorway which is blocked off that leads to a newel staircase up into the corner turret known as the Round Tower. The walls still bear the marks of the vaulted ceiling. The last recorded occupant was the castle steward Sampson Ingleby, who died in 1604. The castle was finally reduced to ruin during the Civil War. In 1924, Charles Henry, Baron Leconfield, transferred ownership of the site to the state by deed of gift. We do hope you enjoyed the tour of Spofforth Castle. Thank you all for watching. Do take care and have a fantastic week ahead.